Hello students, hi, how are you? And welcome to today's class. Okay, I hope you're all waiting there. Okay, so as promised earlier, I'm going to continue with chapter 14. Actually, I'm doing this as on request from students who want me to actually to revise on the Form 4 lessons. Okay, I'm sure mainly I teach Form 5 this year, so I think the Form 4 lessons they have already more or less forgotten, right? So it will be good to revise. So I hope that you're there, all right, with me today, just for 1 hour for me to revise certain topic. Okay, Jen Xuan, good afternoon. Okay, good afternoon. Thanks for coming today. I know it's a holiday. We have a long holiday, right? We had a long holiday, and tomorrow is another day, and Monday is another holiday for our school. Okay, so but I hope that you're making use of the time. Okay, Minion, good afternoon. Yes, okay. I'm glad to know that my students are here. So if any one of you who are not my students who are here, it'll be good that you can let me know that you're joining my class as well. Okay, so today I'm going to just continue from where I stopped last week. Last week I did until the musculoskeletal system, where we talk about the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. All right, and then we talk about the vertebral column. Here, students, are you able to hear me? Please, can I have some feedback? All right. I think maybe the line is not that good, right? Okay, I'm going to share screen now. I hope you can see this. Good afternoon, Yi Hui. All right, good afternoon. Please do let me know if I'm offline or whatever so that I may be able to do something. All right. Okay, are you able to see this? Okay, support and movement in humans and animals 14.2. Okay, today we're going to talk about joints, just joints only. So we are not going to finish today's lesson also, the whole chapter, because it's still a long way to go. Not very long, but there will be other, I can't finish everything today. Okay, so what are joints? Okay, what are joints? Joints is actually a meeting place between two bones, two or more bones. All right. Thank you for your feedback, Yi Hui. Yes, can see and can hear. All right, fine. I thought I was disconnected for a while because I saw my screen went black. All right, and was like a bit of the loading. Okay, now you can see here, joint is basically the points or the meeting place where two or more bones. So sometimes it can be two, sometimes it can be more. Now, what do you mean by this? So usually you will think that the joint has got two bones. Okay, for example, like you can see here. Now, this is the meeting place between the bones. So all these places that you see here, these joints. Okay. Now, this thing you see that there are one bone. You see here, like at the wrist, you have one bone, and then you have more than other bones, articulating here. So this is one piece of bone. Then you have another piece, and another piece. So it could be more than one. Okay, or maybe what I mean is more than one bone that the bone is joining up to. So as long as you have minimum of two bones which meet, okay, the bone can be cartilage or can be bone. Cartilage is actually soft bone. Okay, soft bone. All right, I can double check your message here. your lembu and all that, the parts of the bone that you cannot bite into, that is the bone. That one is made of that has got calcium inside there. It's called calcified, okay, bone. And another type of bone is soft, we call cartilage. It's white color. After I show you how a cartilage looks like. Okay. Now, why do we need joints? Joints help to enable movement. Okay, it helps to have movement, because if you do not have joints, for example, like last week I mentioned, when you have one straight bone like this, you see, if you don't have three bones here, you get your finger has got three bones. You can see this, you have two joints but three bones. If you do not have, your finger cannot bend, and when finger cannot bend, you cannot hold anything. Okay, your fingers would practically be useless because you can't grip, you can't hold anything. Okay, so it's to enable movement so your bones can bend. All right, your fingers can bend. All right, now there are different types of movements because there are different types of joints. So today we're going to look at different types of joints. So the joints not only one type, there are a few types. All right, okay. Lagging, all right. I am lagging. Okay, I'm very sorry. Yeah, I think my line is not so good. Okay, just bear with me. Probably it will become better in a while. All right, okay. I'm lagging. I'm so sorry. Okay, let me continue. Three types, the three major groups of joints. Are you able to hear me well? If you can't see, I think the important thing is you can hear. If you can hear, all right, then the picture will come on in a while. All right. All right. I'll show it on the screen. Yes. Yes. Anyone to? All right. Okay. So am I lagging now? Am I still lagging? Okay. Let me continue. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Let's go on. Next. There are three types of joints. First is immovable. Immovable means cannot move. There are certain joints that cannot move. That means you have two bones. They are more or less like joined together. They are like fused. Fused means joined together. It's like two pieces of bone. Together. All right, glue. Glue. Like you put some glue there and stuck together. It's stuck together. That means it cannot move at all. That is called immovable. All right, let's look at it. Immovable means this kind of joint does not afford any movement at all. The bones are actually joined together. You have seen it in the last lesson where you saw the sacrum. Sacrum, you have 5 bones which are joined together. You get a triangular shape. That is the sacrum, the sacral column, okay, vertebral. Then you have the coccyx. Coccyx, where you got 4 pieces of small little bones. They are also fused together. That one cannot have any movement. Okay, a bit delay. All right. Okay. All right. But you can hear me. That'll be good. Okay. The picture will come on again. As long as you can hear me, it's fine. Okay. Then slightly movable. Another group is called slightly movable. That means it can move slightly. Slightly only, maybe a bit of like slipping movement. All right. It doesn't afford a lot of movement, but just slight movement only. Okay, example, I will show you example later. So this slightly movable joints are found in, for example, vertebral column. Okay, remember last week there was one student who asked about in between your let's say your vertebral bone, your cervix and the next cervix, in between there is a cartilage joints allow you to have a lot of movement. That means you can sort of swing your arms. Okay, you notice you can swing your arms. You can also fold. All right, this is called bending. Right, you have the hinge joints, or you have the ball and socket. So under you have ball and socket and also hinge. Okay, so now we're going to look at one by one first. So we're going to look at, right? Okay, right. Now let's look at the immovable joint. All right, immovable joint, that means the bones are fused. Fused means joined together. It's like you have glue, right? It's already glued together. So let's look at what where you have it. Now this is what do you see this? What do you call this when you don't say the head, right? A lot of people say, oh, there's a head, but it's not the head. What's the correct name for this bone that you see here? Actually, it's not one piece of bone. They're actually pieces of bone. What do you call this whole thing? Anyone? Can you just type now? See, there's one big piece here. Actually, all right, you can see from here, like, and then all the lines here. You can see all these lines. It looks like cracks. Okay, it looks like somebody cracked your head, crack this bone here. You see all these cracks here. I can see all these lines. All right, what do you call this? I just want to see your answer here. What do we call this? I'm just waiting for your reply. Okay, then actually it's not just one piece of bone. Sometimes you will see all these lines and cracks here. Okay, let me just rub this off. All right. So what is the name of this? This is a special bone. It actually protects your brain. What do we call this bone? This is called a skull. Yes, correct. Skull meaning Pankasin Yihui, correct. It's called skull. A skull is a general name, but if you want to be more scientific, all right, this name is called cranium. Cranium is actually the skull. Okay, cranium is also the same meaning as a skull. Okay, so let's look. Sutures. Now, what are sutures? Sutures are all these lines that you see. These are called sutures. Suture. It's like, when you have surgery, right? When surgery, you have to join up the wound, not the wound. You take the needle, you take the thread, and then you sort of like, you Mandarin is say feng, all right? Where you have to, you have to stitch up the person. Yeah, stitch up. That's called stitching. Yeah. So that's called suture. So you see all these lines, you can see the suture line here. Okay, but this doesn't afford any movement at all. Yes, anything? What's this? Oh no, it means it's already connected. Okay, so you have this suture means is the bones already connected. Okay, and it doesn't afford any movement. All right, now next one. Another example would be the one I told you at the sacral vertebrae and the coccyx, the caudal vertebrae. That one is also fused together. Okay, second group. Second group is called slightly movable. So this one affords a little bit of movement, a little only, very little. That only allows you, the two bones can slide. So it's going to be a sliding movement, okay? And that will be at your vertebral column, the vertebral column in between the pieces of bone there. You have this cartilage disc between the vertebrae. Now I can see all that. You see the white part here? Okay, I'm going to use my pen. You see this part here? Now that is actually, you have a cartilage there. This is called intervertebral disc. And that affords a little bit of movement, like you're able to bend, all right? You're supposed to bend over, whether you bend forward or backwards. So that gives you a slight mobility. So this is the cartilage disc between the vertebrae. You can see all this white color thing. In between the bones, remember your cervical, thoracic, lumbar, okay? All this in between. Next one will be cartilage between the ribs and the sternum. Okay, you have to recall back the lesson. Your ribs is the one in your the chest here, where you have 12 bones here, 12 pairs of bones, and then in the front there you can see here it joins to the sternum. This is your sternum. This is your sternum. This is sternum. We call it the breastbone. The breastbone. Okay, this whole piece here, and you can see the ribs actually come out from the thoracic vertebrae, all right? It connected to the thoracic vertebrae, and it makes a half C shape, and it comes to the front. You see all this white color stuff? These are cartilage. They are actually a soft bone. So cartilage is actually a soft bone, right? It also gives you protection, but it's not as hard as the bone, right? It's also actually classified as, it's called something like a soft bone. So they slight movement. Very slight movement, all right? Of course, your ribs do not shift position, right, very much. It's just slight movement only. Okay, so these are the two examples of slightly movable joints, second group. Okay, second group. Now, let's look at the third group. All right, the third group, we have more to learn because this is the one that has got a lot of mobility. That means freedom of movement. Okay, freely movable joints, you will have two types. You have a hinge joint and a ball and socket joint. Okay, just like a ball, it goes into a socket. Socket is like a cup shape here. So the ball goes in, and then you are able to, move around very freely all over the place. Okay, we will see that in a while. Okay, so now at the freely movable joint, you will have similar structures. So what are the similar structures? So today we're going to look at this one first. Doesn't matter whether it's hinge joint or ball and socket joint, you will have these things. Okay, these are the structures. You know how to label. You need to know how to label. Okay, first of all, these two are the bones. Okay, this is the ends of the bones here. This is where they articulate. One bone here and another bone here, they articulate is that they make contact. These are the surface here. We call it facet. F-A-C-E-T. It's a facet. It's the place they make contact. Okay, now here outside, you have something to cover that joint there. The outer is a tough covering, right? It's made of connective tissue. You have very tough, the white color thing there. That is called the capsule, right? So here, capsule is a fibrous tissue. It encloses and protects the joint. So if you don't have this one, then your bone will be easily disconnected. So you have something to cover it, okay? Cover the joint together. That fibrous tissue is a capsule. Okay, let's look at another part now. Cartilage. At the end of the bone, do you see this white piece here? This white piece here, right? This white piece here that makes contact with the other part here. You will see that it is slightly smooth. Actually, not slightly, it's very smooth. At the ends of the bones, I'm sure when you drink your soup tulang, or when you have your chicken soup and all that, you try to look at the bones part. When you have the bone, you will see sometimes the heads of the bone, you will have this white material, which is after boiling for a long time, it may even flake off. And some people eat it because it's very chewy. Okay, that is cartilage. So it actually makes the end of the bone very smooth. And that is a good thing, because when you have movement, it must be smooth. If it's very coarse or it's very rough, you find there's going to be a lot of friction. The movement is not easy. You're going to have a lot of pain when you try to bend your arms or your legs. That means you have a lot of friction. Okay, so cartilage is to reduce friction because it's smooth, right? It also acts as a cushion. It absorbs shock. It reduces friction, and it protects the bone from wearing out. Because once wearing out, it's like when you have friction, the surface will be rubbed away. Okay, so become thinner and thinner and thinner, and that's where you have your bone will sort of like becoming shorter and shorter. Okay, that will be a bad thing to happen. So you have something to prevent your bone from being being eroded. Okay, so you have this cartilage to protect it. Okay, so that's cartilage. So you must know how to label. So when you label, you see that part there. How to see? I rub this off. You see that white at the end of the bone. It's only at the end of the bone. It's not on the entire surface of the bone. It's only at the end. Okay, this is the head. This is the head of the bone. You only have it here. This piece here. Okay, that is the cartilage. Okay, next you have the synovial membrane. Okay, now where's the synovial membrane? You will see that after the capsule, as you go inwards, you see there's a membrane here. Okay, there's a membrane here. The membrane here. Now this membrane produces a liquid. The liquid is of course inside that cavity. The cavity is the lubang there, right? That empty space there. So this membrane is actually producing the liquid. You need to have liquid. The liquid is there for you to reduce friction. Okay, as it's lubrication, so that when you bend your knees or you bend whatever joints there, you will not feel the pain, right? Because if it's very rough, you can see a lot of friction there, and then you're gonna get a lot of pain when you have to that kind of movement. Okay, so synovial membrane actually secretes the synovial fluid into the synovial cavity. Synovial cavity is actually here. The cavity. This is the empty space there. All this empty space that you see is actually not empty. It's filled with a liquid called synovial fluid. Okay, synovial fluid. So where does the synovial fluid come from? It comes from the synovial membrane. So the membrane produces that liquid. We call it secretes, means produces. Lubricant is like 滑稽, all right? It makes it smooth, all right? To reduce friction between the ends of the bones. Okay, so remember, you need to know how to label. If I give you a diagram with a of a freely movable joint. If I show you all this, you should know how to tell me is cartilage, the synovial membrane, and the synovial. Okay, so these are the four major components of this joint, which is freely movable. Okay, so now we look at the hinge joint and the ball and socket joint, the two types. So both of them have all these things there. Have this capsule, cartilage, synovial membrane, and also synovial fluid. All right, okay. Let me see. You have any? I need to sort of like, move away my slide. So you see your slide will become smaller as I try to check my comments. Okay, can't help it. Sorry, yeah, because I have to look at, because I'm having one screen only. Okay, so far no comments. Now let's look at the hinge joint. So the hinge joint is simple to remember. It's just like, you have a your room door. The door only opens in one direction, isn't it? So this is the let's say the room, the door, the frame, and this is your door. The door opens like this, isn't it? So it's just like it folds like that. It's just in one direction or one plane. In one plane, not one direction, but it's more one plane. Allows the movement of bones in one plane. That means it can only move this way only. It cannot move like that. It cannot move like this. Okay? It doesn't afford that kind of movement. Okay, so this is basically a diagram to show your hinge. Let me just continue where we're at. So you have your knee joint, which is between the femur and your tibia, not with the fibula. You see, the fibula is actually under the tibia. So it's your femur and your tibia. You also have this movement where you have only, your knee. This is your knee, right? So your movement is only like this. You see, your movement is only like this. So this is why we call a hinge joint. Okay, hinge joint. Okay, next. Now, interphalangeal joint. These are between the fingers, phalanges. Remember, you learned that in your last week. Your phalanges. So your phalanges, your toes, your fingers and your toes, you're only able to bend in this way. You can look forward. You can't go side to side. You can't bend it to the side. Can you bend it to the side? It's only one plane. So these are the interphalangeal joints. This is for the your fingers. Your ankle joint is also a hinge joint. Okay, so now we are done with hinge joint. So the mobility, if we consider, is freely movable, but it's still not as good as the next one. The next one is called ball and socket joint, which gives you even more freedom of movement. Okay, let's look at the ball and socket joint. Okay, it allows rotational. This is what you look at this word, rotational. You are able to rotate one bone on the other bone. Okay, this is rotational. For rotational, it's only for ball and socket. You cannot say the word rotational for your hinge. Your hinge just allow this kind of movement. Okay, rotational is you have a cup here, right? This is a socket here. You have a ball, right? And you're able to move, like you turn it around, right? You're able to move it like this, and you can rotate. All right. So in all directions. Now let's look at So you see, basically you have this is called the ball. All right, the ball. This is the head of the bone, and you have a socket. Again, you have something that is a cup shape here. So it goes inside here, and this one can turn, and you can have more freedom of movement. Okay. So where can you find this ball and socket joint? First thing is your shoulder. You notice you can swing your shoulder almost like, how many degrees? More than 90 degrees, right? You can swing and make a circle with your arm. So this, your scapula, the bone here, scapula, humerus, it goes in, and you can swing all this. Okay, so this shoulder bone. Okay, let's look at shoulder joint. Your scapula, and this is your humerus. You see that? Now this is the joint there. There is a socket at the scapula here, and this is your humerus. It goes in, all right? And then this arm, you can swing it in a lot of directions. That's why you can swing your arms, okay? You can make one full circle, right? Because it's a ball and socket joint. Okay, next one, hip joint. Let's look at the hip. Now, this is the hip, right? If you realize this is your femur bone. Okay, this is just looking at the bone only lah. This is the femur. There's this ball here, which enters. This is remember your pelvic bone. This is your pelvic bone. So this is the ball of this femur. This is the pelvic bone side. It just locks inside here, and your leg able to rotate freely. So if you can see here, there's another diagram. The head of the femur goes into the socket here, right? There's a C shape here, and that is the pelvic girdle. Okay, the femur. This is the femur bone. So your shoulder joints and your hip joints, they come under ball and socket. Just remember, they give you the highest freedom of movement. Okay, when you can swing it about 180 degrees or almost, not really. So of course your arms are more flexible, the movement, the joint compared to your hips. Okay. So we are done with the bones. All right, we've seen the bones and the types of joints. So now at the joint, you will see other things. Okay, there are other structures at the joints, not only just the bone. You can see you have all these capsule, cartilage, all these things, right? So many things. So we're going to look at 3 more things there. Okay, what are the 3? You will see at the joints, you have muscle. Okay, your muscles here. You have muscles here. Our humerus is the bone. All right, then you have the radius and the ulna. These are the bones. You will have muscle. You will also have tendon, and you will also have ligament. Look at all these things. So now we're going to learn muscle, tendon, and ligament. They're all found at the joint. Okay, now, so this is your shoulder. All right, the shoulder here. You will also see all this white stuff here. This is the tendon. Later I'll tell you how to see. So this is your shoulder. And what you're looking at, this is the humerus, the shoulder. This is the clavicle, is the collarbone here. Scapula is the bone at your shoulder blade. Okay. This is another one. You will see your, this is the ligament here, the white color bits here. These white color parts here, these are the ligament. Ligament actually holds the bone together. They connect bone to bone. So we're going to look at 3 more things. Muscle, what does the muscle do? What does the tendon do? And what is the function of ligament? Okay, so already seen the types of joints. Now we look at the supporting structures at the joints. Okay, so let's look at the skeletal muscle. Okay, what does a muscle do? Okay, I'm sure you learned it in last year from 4, where you know that muscle is actually the tissue that gives you movement. The muscle, what they do is they contract and they relax. Now, you never say expand. Okay, you notice last time you say that any metal, you heat it up, it expands, it expands, and then when it cools down, you say it contract, or maybe go back to normal. You can say that for metal. But for muscle, you never say contract or expand. We can say contract. The opposite of contract is it will relax. Okay, remember that. Muscle is either it contract or it relax. The opposite of contract is not expand. It is relax for muscle. And then muscle can never go shorter. Muscle cannot even go any longer than it actually is. So the muscle will be a fixed length. The only thing it can go shorter only. So when it relaxes, it go back to its original length. Okay, that's why I call it relax. And you never say muscle push. Muscle can pull. Muscle, when it contracts, it pulls. But you cannot say muscle push. You cannot have a muscle that pushes. Okay, no such thing. If you want to push, and not really push, you return it back to the bone to the original position, you have to have another muscle to do the job. Okay, to do the pull it in the opposite direction. Okay, I'll tell you what I mean. Okay, now you see here, you have, this is your, can you recognize what diagram, what kind of joint am I showing you here? Where is this joint here? Yeah, what does it look like? Which part? Is it your shoulder? Is it your knee? Is it your elbow? Which part of the joint looks like this? Just to find out, right? Just to let me know. What does it look like to you? What kind of a joint does this look like to you? I see Kasin is there, Yi Hui is there, Min Yin. Okay. Yeah, I think don't need the 3 of you here. Okay, doesn't matter. All right, so what kind of a joint do you think this is? Does it look like? What kind of a joint does it look like to you? This is, any idea? This is a joint at your, I don't see any response. Never mind. Okay, it's okay. I'll give you the answer. This is your knee. Okay, your knee joint. This is your knee joint. So you have the muscle here. It's actually supposed to be longer. It doesn't show. This is red color thing here. This is muscle. Your muscle will actually contract and it will pull the bone. All right, it transfer the pulling force to the bone. Okay, and then that's why your bone can move. So skeletal muscle. So it's actually, what is skeletal muscle? It's actually bunches of muscle fibers. Okay, it's a large, you have nerves, you have blood supply there, right? And then it works in pairs. Okay, and it's important to know that muscle must have a pair. When you want to move a bone, okay, any direction, one will pull it this way, and then the other muscle will have to return it back to the original condition. You will have to pull it the other way around. So that's why it cannot push. The muscle A pulls, it cannot push this bone back. You need a muscle B to pull it back into the original condition. Okay, so that's why you need to have a pair. We call it, they work in opposite direction. They work in, we call it antagonistic. Antagonistic means when one contracts, the other one will relax at that same time. And then when this bone wants to come back to original place, this first muscle that already contracted, it is not going to push. It cannot push. It only can relax. So if you only relax it, it's not going to return it back to original position. You need another muscle to pull it back to the original condition. So you need an antagonistic pair of muscle. Okay, so A and B, they work together. So example would be bicep and triceps. Biceps is the one here. Your bicep is, when all this lower, they want to show off, right? This is the biceps and this is the triceps. So they are actually like good friends. They have to work together. Because when your biceps contracts, it will pull this ulna and radius up, right? But you see, when I want to bring down my arm, okay, maybe I just show you a little bit this one. I just see. Okay, let's let you see this one. So when I want to bring down my arm, you can see that. When I want to bring down my arm, this one cannot push. What happens is the other muscle will have to contract. So when it contracts, it pulls. You see, you can see this. When it pulls, this one must have to allow. This muscle on top must allow it to go. So this one has to relax. Okay, so contract. This one will relax at that time. Now, when I want to bring down my arm, this one has to relax. Because if this one pull and this one pull, both sides are pulling, your bone is not going anywhere. It's like playing a tug of war. Okay, both sides pulling. No one is allowing it to move. Okay, so when this one contracts, this one must relax. See? So that's why you see it becomes shorter. So I pull here, shorter. You see, it will go down. All right, so that's how your arm is folded up or down. Okay, let me look at the diagram again. Okay, let you look at the diagram. Now, let's see this. So, antagonistic, this word must be in your answer. All right, be careful. When you're supposed to explain this kind of movements, please use this term. Okay, because there will be marks allocated for it. So when one muscle contracts and the other will relax. Okay, and vice versa. Vice versa means opposite. So when this muscle now relaxes, that means the other one will contract. Okay, at the same time. Okay. Now, we have this term called extensor. Extensor from the word extend. Okay, after I'll show you with the animated diagram, you'll get a better idea. Extensor is what kind of muscle extensor? Extensor is the muscle that contracts. And when it contracts, it will straighten the limb. So you see, which is the extensor now? Is it your bicep or your tricep? Extensor is the muscle which, when it contracts, it will extend. You see now it's extending. So which one is contracting? Is it the bicep or the tricep contracting? Contracted means always think it's getting shorter. So this one is actually contracting. So your tricep is the extensor. Okay, your tricep is the extensor because when it contracts, when this one contracts, it will extend your arm. Okay, that's why your tricep is the extensor. Okay, on the other hand, you have the flexor. Flexor, to flex means is to bend. So ask yourself, when I want to bend my arm, okay, I'll show you my diagram again. I'll show this bigger ones again. Sorry, Okay, now you can see better, hopefully. Now, when I want to bend, all right, let's say I want to bend my arm. Which one has to contract? Is it my bicep or is it my tricep? See, look at it this way. When I want to contract, when I want to flex my arm, this one will have to pull, isn't it? That means it's going to contract. See, it's going to become shorter. I cannot see. Okay, here. Here, can you see the, how do I see it? Okay, so this one will have to contract, it becomes shorter, right? Shorter, is a pull, 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 pull. So this is your flexor. Your bicep is the flexor. Yes, meaning correct. Bicep is the flexor. Usually biceps, there's an S at the back here. Not just bicep, it's biceps. Triceps. Yes, correct, with the S there. So this one is your flexor. Triceps is your flexor. Your biceps is your extend. Is your sorry. Your biceps is your flexor. Your triceps is your extensor. Okay, now I'm going to show you the diagram. Right. So hopefully it'll be clearer after you see the diagram. Right, 1 minute. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, now look at this. This is an animation. So I will repeat the animation. All right, so I got this bicep. Okay, nothing else. Yeah. Now let's going to look. I'm going to look at this one. First of all, let me play this. Where is the? Okay. Sorry, I have to click. Yes, you see this. All right. Goes up. Now you see it's contracted, then you pull the bone up. Now you want to extend it. You see the behind your tricep will have to become shorter. When it becomes shorter, you notice it becomes bulkier. It becomes fatter. Okay, let's do it again. Wait, I have to what? I have to go to this. Where is this one? Oh. Okay, again. All right, okay, you can see that. So it becomes bulkier when it contracts. So your bicep contracts, and at the same time, your tricep must relax. So now when you want to bring it down, your biceps have to relax and your tricep have to contract in order to allow it to come down. Okay, now how to explain it in a question? Okay, let's say you want to answer this question. So you got to always you go step by step. So when you're talking about flexing, okay, let's see. Now the arm is now is extended initially. Okay, I'm talking about now extended. Okay, so now you want to flex your arm. To flex means to bend. Okay, what you need to do is, first of all, muscle has to contract. Okay, the biceps will contract. So the biceps contract, they become shorter. So when it becomes shorter, all right, it actually transfer the pulling force. At the same time, don't forget that triceps will relax. One contracts, the other one relaxes. Okay, and then your tendon, there's going to be something called tendon here. There's a tendon, is actually, after you will see the tissue here, it's called tendon. There's one tendon here. It will transfer the pulling force to the bone. The bone is here, is the radius. It actually connects to the top one. The bone on top is called the radius. So it will transfer the pulling force to the radius. And because the tendon is inelastic, it doesn't stretch. So the force will be transferred to the bone and the bone will come up. So now the lower arm is pulled up. That means your radius is pulled up. Okay? Then, now the arm is flexed. Or we say the arm is bent. Understand? All right. So by doing that, you see, you talk about all this in sequence. First of all, what contracts? At the same time, your tricep will relax. And then this muscle transfer the pulling force to the radius. Okay. And the radius is the bone. So now the arm is pulled upwards and the arm is flexed. Okay. Now, what about the other way now? Now your arm is already bent. Okay. Your arm is already bent. Okay. So here, in this case, the bending part, your biceps will be the flexor because it contracts, it will pull your arm up. Okay, now let's look at about now going down. All right, you can extend your arm. So now the arm is flexed. This is the initial. Initial means it's in the beginning. It's like this. Now you want to extend your arm. Okay, next. So in order to extend or to straighten, okay, another meaning of extending is to straighten your arm. You have to, here, now your tricep has to contract and it becomes shorter. Okay, so your bicep will relax at the same time. Biceps will relax. Okay, then the tendon, again, there's going to be a tendon here from this triceps. It's going to connect to your ulna here, the bottom here. There's going to be a tendon here transfer the pulling force to the radius. So this one contracts, so it's trying to go down. At the same time, this one must relax, all right, to allow it. Then the lower arm is pulled downwards, and so your arm is extended or straightened. So this is how you will explain the sequence. Okay, this one can easily fetch a few marks for your explanation, like an essay here, 3 or 4 marks to talk about bending. Then maybe another 3 or 4 marks to talk about the extension, okay, extending. So now don't forget, you're going to miss 1 mark, very important mark, if you forget the word antagonistic. How you want to put your antagonistic? You talk about it this way. Okay, so your tricep is your flexor, bicep will be extensor at this time. So now biceps and tricep work antagonistically. Write this sentence. Biceps and triceps work antagonistically. That means when one contracts, the other relaxes simultaneously, and vice versa. Vice versa means they change position. When this one contracts, this one relaxes. Now when this one relaxes, the other one will contract. That means the opposite, vice versa. Okay, can so I see whether I can work this. No, cannot. I can't work this. Can? No, cannot. Okay, so it's like I have to go back to the what? So it doesn't allow me to play that. And okay, never mind. Okay, let's go on. How about tendon? We're done with skeletal muscle. Now tendon. Just now you mentioned tendon, right? I mentioned tendon here. So where's the tendon? Now tendon is also tissue. It is strong fibers, not elastic. We say inelastic. That means you cannot pull it longer. When you talk about something that's inelastic, that means it's flexible, but you cannot pull it longer. That's called inelastic. Okay. If it's elastic, means original length like this, 5 cm. When it is elastic, that means you can pull it and become longer. That is called elastic. And when you let go, it will come back to the original length. That is the meaning of elasticity. Okay? It can go longer, and you let go with the force, you let go it will come back to the original length. That's elastic. But tendon is not. It is tough. It is flexible, right? But you can't pull it. You can't pull it to become longer. So that's what I mean. Now you see where is your tendon? Okay, look at this structure here. You will see this part here. Do you notice that this is the bone, right? This part here is the bone. This is the patella, This is the patella, your kneecap. This is the patella. And you find there's one part of the tissue which is white in color or yellowish or something like that. Connects your skeletal muscle to the bone. This is the bone, the patella bone. Okay, and that part is called the tendon. The tendon's function is to join the muscle to the bone. It connects the muscle to the bone. Okay, connects the muscle to the bone. All right, connect muscle to the bone. You know what is it for? It's actually to transfer the pulling force of the muscle to the bone. So the bone can be raised, can be moved up or down. Okay, now, so you can see tendon here. Now, sometimes you eat your chicken or Kentucky Fried Chicken. You notice there's one part after you finish the muscle. That means you eat. You eat the muscle, isn't it? You eat the flesh. When you're eating the flesh, you're eating the muscle actually. So this tendon is the type very ngan one. Ngan is like a very chewy part there. That's white or yellowish color. That is the tendon. Some people eat it. Some people don't eat it. Right? Because it's difficult to bite because it's very chewy. That is the tendon. Okay, and then some people have this they have this 猪肝云, you call it tendon balls. It's like a fish ball, but it's made of tendon, so it's very chewy one. It's called tendon balls. Okay, some people like to eat that. Okay, that is it attaches from the muscle to the bone. Okay, that's the job of the tendon. Okay, here's another one. Let's see. Identify where's the tendon. Look at the muscle first. First of all, look at the muscle. Muscle is the red part here. This is the muscle. And locate where's the bone. Now the bone is this piece here. Yeah, this is the bone. You see, this is the bone. This is the muscle. So your tendon must be there. See that? The black color circle there. So your muscle is here. Your bone is here. Your tendon is in between there. Okay, can you see that? Okay, so there's another one. This is the muscle. And this here is the bone. So that white part there is called the tendon. Okay, let's go on. Now, this is another example. Now, you see Achilles tendon. This is your feet. Sometimes people have a pain at the heel there. This is what we call Achilles tendonitis. This tendon is inflamed. Do you see it become inflamed, okay, infection, something like that. So it's painful. So that part here, you can see the muscle is up there. You don't show the muscle. This is the tendon. So this is called the tendonitis means inflammation. That means the person has got, maybe some bacterial infection or something, so it feels it's inflamed. It's like we call it 肿 all right? It's radang, so it's red and it's very painful. So it's called tendonitis. Okay, so that's the job of the tendon. All right. Now ligament. There's another one. Last one, ligament. Okay, anything here? I think there's nothing here. All right, nothing in the biceps. The last one. So ligament. What is the ligament? At the joint here, you also see ligament. So you can see the same diagram again. You already know your muscle. You already know your tendon, right? Which binds or connects your muscle to your bone. Now, where is the ligament? Ligament is, the function is to connect bone to bone. Here, you see that? This is the bone. This is the bone, right? This is the bone. And you see this tissue here? That is the ligament. It actually holds the bone together. Without the ligament, all right, your bone will be dangling. It's like, there's nothing to connect. The connection will not be strong. Okay, you have to bind the two together. It's not really binding, but just holding it there, and it connects your bone to bone. That is called the ligament. Okay. Now consists of strong. Now this is elastic. Look at the difference. Just now we said the tendon is inelastic. That means it cannot stretch. But ligament allows a little bit of stretching. So that's why your bone, sometimes you stretch your bone, it is able to. Sometimes you pull a little bit more. All right, of course it's going to be very painful, right? It allows a little bit of movement, because not say movement, it allows the bone to be, it's elastic because your ligament is elastic, so it allows a little bit of stretching, okay, between the two bones there. So it's tough connective tissue bundles. It's elastic. Okay, I'll teach you how to remember. Okay, provide support and strength to the joints. Okay, so you have strength, it makes the joint hard, to say strong, right? So your bones will be tough, right? The joint is firmer. Okay, then next, allows the bone to be bent. So it also allows the bending movement. This is the function of ligament. All right, okay. Now, next one. Okay, where is my slide? Okay, 1 minute. My slide is here. Okay, just suddenly something happened to my slide. Okay, hope you can still see this. Can? Yeah, all right. Sorry, I don't know what happened in just now today. Okay, next, now let's try to identify ligament. Okay, first of all, identify your bone first. Where is the bone? Okay, so now here, this is the bone. All right, this is the bone. And this is another bone. So your ligament must be in between. Now, this one just now was tendon, because it's the muscle here. Okay, this is the muscle, the red color thing. So your bone is this one. Sorry, your ligament is this one. Always bone to bone. Now, for the second picture, it's more clearer. This is your knee. This is the side of your knee. And this one is looking at the back of your knee. This is looking at the back of your knee. Okay, from the knee. So here you see your bone. You see the bone here. This is your bone. This is another bone at the bottom here. So your ligament is also bone. All right, and there's a bone here in front there. So in between here, you will see this. You will see this. Those are your ligaments. Just remember bone to bone. Okay, I'll teach you how to remember afterwards. I'll give you a tip how to remember. Okay, now look at some more pictures of the knee. Now you see all this. Now the yellow color, not brown color one, these are your bone. This is your knee. Okay, the back of your knee. So this is your bone. Here is a bone. This is a bone. This is a bone here. This is the tibula. This is the fibula. Tibia. This is the tibia. This is the fibula. And you see the white color things there. This is your ligament. Okay, no need to remember all these medical names of the ligament. You're not studying to become a doctor yet. All right, only when you go to medical school, then you learn all the names. Okay, you just need to know at the moment it's called ligament. Okay, see all this ligament, white color stuff here in between this bone here. This is your heel bone, the big piece of heel bone here. This is your feet, right? Then you have this tibia and fibula. Then you can see all these white color stuff here. These are it holds your bones together in your feet. Okay, then here at the bottom, now this is the base of your foot. You have plantar fascia. Okay, some people have intense pain at the bottom of the foot. I had it last time because it was inflamed. So it was so bad that I could not even put a step. I cannot even step down on the ground, on the floor. It was very painful because the plantar, we call it plantar fasciitis. That means it's inflammation of this ligament. Okay, so it's not tendon, it's a ligament. So it joins all this. You see all the white parts, it could be a tendon, it can be a ligament. You see it's joining what to what. For example, this is the muscle, this is the bone, so this one must be tendon. Okay, see first, look carefully. If it's bone to bone, it's ligament. If it's muscle to bone, it's tendon. Okay, look carefully. So this one, I see this one no muscle been taken out. So all you see the white part there, they are all ligaments. All these are ligaments. Okay, and this one at your pelvic girdle, you also have got connection between this part and this one. Okay, because you know that your bone is actually 3 pieces there. Your pelvic bone is made of 3 pieces. So in between there, you also have ligament. So normally in the skeleton, they will always label it white color. It's either ligament or a bone or a tendon, or it could also be the cartilage. All right, now, so next, I'm going to teach you how to remember. Okay, this last part here. Remember T-I-L-E, tile. Tile. Okay, now why tile? T for what? Okay, let's look at all this. T-I-L-E. Okay, so next one, T for tendon. T for tendon. Now, I is for inelastic. The tendon is inelastic. Remember, it cannot stretch. Because if it stretches now, you cannot transfer the pulling force to the bone. The bone will not be able to be pulled up. It has to be very tough and it cannot stretch. Once it stretches, that means the pulling force will be lost. The force will be lost. Okay. Next, ligament. Ligament is elastic. Okay, so T-I-L-E. Tau is inelastic. Ligament is elastic. Okay, next. What about how to remember tendon is connecting what to what? Ligament connecting what to what? Okay, so tendon, ligament. Okay, tendon versus ligament. So tendon, remember TMB. Okay, the Naga, no, Telecom Malaysia Berhad TMB, no, our telecom gives us our phone line. Okay, TMB. That means ligament, remember BLB. Okay, now let's look at TMB first. TMB is tendon, muscle to bone. Tendon connects muscle to bone. Okay, TMB. This is one way to remember. You may have a better way. Definitely, many of you will have even found a better way to remember. BLB, just remember bone to bone with the ligament in the middle. Bone, ligament, bone. Okay, BLB. Bone, ligament, bone. Okay, so remember TMB, BLB, and then you can remember. Or you make it very simple. You just remember one on it. Ligament is bone to bone. That means your tendon must be muscle to bone. You just remember one on it. Okay, so are there any questions from my class today at the moment? Okay, I think there are none. Right. I apologize again for the we call it the disconnection just now. So I hope it doesn't happen again next time. Okay, so this will be brings us to the end of today's lesson. I just wanted to concentrate on joints. I don't want to go to other things. So the next lesson will be movement and locomotion. How does it actually move? Okay, so I've already explained actually the upper arm, your biceps and triceps just now in the lesson there. Okay, so we're going to look at animals, fish, okay, insects, the frog and so on, and the bird. How do they fly? How do they flap their wings and so on? So next, that will be next lesson 14.3, movement and locomotion. All right, okay. So I hope to see you again next week. All right, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, students. Thank you for joining. I think only 9 of you here. I hope that others will be able to look at it later. All right, just let your friends know that to join the class and have a look at it. So I'm very sorry again for the disconnection just now. Okay, thank you, Kasin. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Janice. Thank you, Minion, everyone. Okay, so I will see you next week. All right. Okay, so that's it for me now. Bye-bye. Okay, if you have not subscribed, please share my channel to let everyone know about this and having my classes. Everyone can join. Okay, and thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Okay, bye-bye.